the decline of pollinators is a threat to our biodiversity and our health too. Bees are responsible for pollinating a third of the world's food supply, specifically healthy food like fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Believe it or not, a recent study estimates that this leads to about 500,000 deaths a year due to lack of diet diversity. Now, truly, with less bees, we'll be dealt with a swarm of problems. That's because of that we here at BNC are abuzz to talk about this here. That's a lot of puns. I did not write that. We have via Zoom Emmanuel Ayban, a Filipino beekeeper based in New Zealand. It's a beautiful day, Eman. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning. Maraming salamat din po.
Eman, unang-una, paano ka nagsimula sa beekeeping? How did you start? Did you start here in the Philippines or when you made that move to New Zealand?
Yes, I started my beekeeping year 2008. Dito lang po dyan sa Philippines. We started as a backyard beekeeper around 4 colonies. And then hanggang dumami ng dumami po.
So, bakit
And
importante yung mga bees, if you don't mind us asking, for those who are wondering, ba't ang laki ng role ng bees sa ecology natin, sa ecosystem natin?
Because they are the #1 pollinators para sa ating mga pagkain. So, they are the most important.
So, Eman, you started in Baguio, no, for a good couple of years with just 4 colonies,
Yes.
tama ba? 4 colonies?
Yep, opo.
Yes, and then you moved to New Zealand what year?
I moved here in New Zealand September 2015.
2015, and you're still doing it until now. Can you tell us about the Filipino beekeeper community there in New Zealand?
So yun. So we are a lot of Filipino beekeepers here in New Zealand now. So I think around 300 beekeepers.
Wow!
There are 300...
Marami na po rito.
Madami na.
Wow. So,
Or more than.
Okay.
So could you tell us, how do you guys take care of the bees? Like, could you walk us through a day in the life of a beekeeper?
Yeah. So we are taking care of bees. So that's our job for every day. So we are
Okay.
we are just inspecting those bees and keeping those apiary clean and provide the bees for their needs. Yeah.
pero
Yeah.
Eman, ilan bees? How many colonies do you handle right now? And can you give us an estimate kung ilan yan? How many bees do you actually work with? And of course, kung anong type ng bee po yun?
So this time, yung current work ko is we're taking care of 200 beehives. And last year, I worked with a big company that is 20,000 beehives.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay, so mga ilan,
Yeah.
may estimate ba tayo kung ilan bees po yun, kada beehive?
It's 1 million bees.
Okay, so 1 million bees. Where do you conduct yung beekeeping nyo po? And of course, normally, where do your products end up?
Ano po?
Saan po kayo nagbe-beekeeping and what areas sa New Zealand? And of course, yung honey po na produce po ninyo, where does it end up?
So yun, yeah. So mostly most of the time, yung mga bees namin is nasa spring sites. So yung mga accessible by cars. But during summer times, we are transporting them into the virgin forest or yung talagang as in mountain. Sometimes we are using choppers to move the hives so that we can get the manuka honey.
Oh, manuka honey. Eman, we're seeing on the screen, no, yung process of gathering the honey from the hive, tama ba?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you make sure that the bees are unharmed when you do this process sa pagkuha ng honey?
So yun po yung we need to do our best. Anong tawag doon? We, we need to work slow or yung hindi sila masasaktan. And we are using those machines that is harmful to the bees
Okay.
when we are getting the nectar, the honey.
Okay.
We're seeing on the
So,
video, sir, that you're like spraying something on the bees. Can you tell us more about why you're doing that?
Parang yung usok.
oh, that's, yeah, the smoker one is the used for the bees to calm down so that hindi kayo, they will not attack you from, just to calm down.
Sanay na po ba kayo sa mga stings? Kasi I'm sure
Oo
that's
nga, I
what
wanted
a
to
lot
ask
of
that
people
too.
are worried about sa trabaho po ninyo.
Oh yeah, maybe 10 stings a day.
Then, kahit nakasuit po kayo,
Or more
nakakalusot pa
than.
rin. Nakakalusot pa rin. And of course, dito sa Pilipinas, can you give us a little overview? Like, is it viable to have more commercial beekeeping dito sa Pilipinas? I know you do it in New Zealand, but if I'm not mistaken, you started out dito at there are a few famous bee farms dito, like sa Bohol, yung Bohol Bee
yeah.
Farm.
Yes.
Just how viable is it, yung beekeeping dito sa Pilipinas?
Actually, for me, limited lang talaga dyan sa Pilipinas kasi there's a limited source of nectar and then mostly mga kabahayan na, lalong especially in Baguio City. Those mountains are flowers before, but now it's houses. So I think yung mga isang beekeeper lang siguro, you can take care of around 5 beehives, something like that. But not go beyond that number because kung wala rin lang source ng nectar, wala rin lang silbi.
So ano yung cause? We talked about yung may population decline mga bees ngayon. What are the reasons why bumababa ang populasyon ng bees?
Yes po. Napakalaki po ng binaba, especially here in New Zealand. 3 years ago, I think it's 900,000 beehives. But now, 60%, around 350,000 beehives na lang po natira.
Bakit ito nangyayari,
So,
Eman?
Number one siguro is the honey market. Yung price ng honey talagang bumaba. So, yung mga malalaking mga beekeeping companies, they have no choice just to shut down the company or else million of dollars you lost you. So
I
yun
see.
po ang nakikita kong number one dito. And from other countries naman, for example in India or Pakistan, Afghanistan, about the forest fire,
Yeah.
nasusunog yung mga apiary nila. Kaya yun, that's the dahilan kung bakit nagdi-decline yung mga bee population natin.
Yeah. Sir, kanina you mentioned that obviously I think we all know from New Zealand, that's where Manuka honey comes from. And I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, the most expensive in the world. So para sa'yo, what makes New Zealand's weather more suitable for the bees versus anywhere else in the world? And why Manuka honey is so sought after?
Yeah, Manuka honey. So, because of the, siguro sa pag-aalaga rin ng bees dito and for those, yung mga chemical properties ng Manuka, yung mga benefits niya, na dito lang sa Manuka honey nakikita. And then, for me siguro yung cost ng business. For those expenses ng bee business, it's so expensive. Yung transportation, salary, yung mga gamot ng mga bees, etc. Kaya so, I think for me, that's the reason why Manuka honey is so expensive.
You mentioned it's mahal. Can you give us an estimate or would you know how much it costs to have this business if people are interested?
Oh, we'll start with the honey price before 3 years ago. We have a, what do we call a classification of honey. So for example, the honey is 20 plus. So the price is around $160 per kilo. So maybe around 7,000 pesos, something like that.
Okay.
Pero yung cost for doing business po, would you know that depende sa I guess the number of apiaries?
Uh, I'll give you for one beehive, the total expenses for that one in one season is around $500
$500
for single
for
beehive. Yeah,
one. And then
Okay.
how many
yeah,
beehives do you work with right now?
just 200.
Just 200. Okay. So,
Yeah,
So 200 times 500. Ganun siya. Ganun
yeah.
ang
oo. For
cost.
one
Yeah.
season. Gano'n kahaba po yung
Yun
season?
yun ang computation na yun.
Oo.
Yes.
Opo. Gano'n po kahaba yung season?
It takes up to 9 months,
9
10
months.
months.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
So, Eman,
Yung winter po,
Okay.
we're not doing beekeeping during winter time. That's the time
Right,
we
of
are going
course.
home in the Philippines. Yeah.
I
Okay,
see.
okay.
Okay.
So
Curious ako,
yung 6
Eman.
months,
Eman, I'm
yung
curious, no?
yeah.
Yung iba pala yung types of honey. Does it depend on the bees, the types of bees?
No, it depends on the source of nectar. For example, for the remote areas in the New Zealand,
Okay.
yung talagang hindi nagagalaw, yung talagang as in na manuka lang yung tanim,
Oo, oo.
that's the high grade yun po. Pero
Ah.
some other parts, meron kasi may ibang flower na ibang source ng
Right,
nectar.
oo. May mga
Yan ay
flowers,
nahalo.
tapos may mga forest, parang ganon.
Yeah. Ganun po.
Okay, so yung dito sa Pilipinas, I know you're a bit experienced on that also. Normally, where can we get the best quality honey at bakit? Like what makes the honey better dito sa Pilipinas depending on where you get it from?
For me, siguro is yung sunflower honey ng Benguet. Yun
Okay.
po siguro ang, for me.
Para sa iyo, opinion mo lang.
Right,
Yung
right.
highest quality natin dito na locally. Tama ba?
Yung sunflower honey from Benguet, yun po kasi talagang as in, when you go to the Benguet during November, December, you see the mountain with the yellow flowers.
Yes, yes.
Yun po yung source ng ano nila.
Do we have to go to Benguet to get the honey?
The
or
best
yeah,
I think you
I
can
like,
get
do they outsource?
I think you can get it in Manila. There's some
Tsaka
people who
meron din
sell
naman
it
po
like in
yung
the
mga,
metro.
yung mga coconut honey from other places.
Coconut
Mango,
honey?
something like, or yung mga wild honey from Abra.
Oo. Kaya ba namin mag-urban beekeeping dito sa Pilipinas? There have been some people who have tried that. I've seen it all over the world that may mga hobbyists na gusto mag-urban
Yes.
beekeeping. Kaya ba dito sa Manila?
Marami naman pong mga nagtatry na nagbi-beekeeping dyan, pero successful naman po. So I think pwede naman po as long as may mga makikita tayong bulaklak or
Okay, kasi
I think
si Mo
possible.
mag-e-experiment na po eh.
Yeah, I love honey so much.
Oo.
I actually have a friend who lives somewhere in Rizal. He has a lot and then talagang
yeah.
nagbi-beekeeping siya.
Oh, on my
Tapos
way.
merong may garden sila kasi plantito din siya eh. So it all depends pala on where the nectar is coming from.
Just
Tsaka it depends din po sa sa lot area mo. Kung for
Right.
example you own a land, you can plant those flowers. You can do whatever you want kung may maluwang na lupa po.
Oo.
Pero in the urban, I think
medyo mahirap
Yeah,
talaga.
yeah.
malabo.
Oo.
Kasi hindi magtatagal, matatayuan na po yan ng bahay.
Oo, correct. That's true.
That's so sad.
Can you give us an idea, Emma, na gaano kalaki yung kailangan mo na lote to start out beekeeping? Siyempre, I'm sure there are a few people who want to at least try or at least experiment. Ano yung mabibigay mong advice na parang pang-starter ng beekeeping?
For me, number one, nasasabihin ko lang is you just go for a beekeeping training first before going into that business kasi kahit dyan po sa Pilipinas mahal po ang puhunan ng pag-aalaga ng mga bubuyog. So as much as possible, meron sana kayong mga knowledge about beekeeping before you get
start.
into that
Alright.
business.
Aral
Yeah.
muna.
Yeah, we have a lot of training centers in the Philippines like UP Los Baños,
Right.
St. Louis Universities in Baguio. You just inquire on the internet and you can find a lot of trainees there, training schools.
Eman, hopefully because of this conversation, we may have inspired a few more future beekeepers. At
Yes.
sana dumami po yung mga beekeepers natin dito sa Pilipinas. And of course, good luck in your work there in New Zealand. Padala na lang po ng Manuka honey. We would gladly appreciate that. Pero thank you so much, Emmanuel Ayban, talking to us live from New Zealand. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you so much.